Hello everyone, Rob here with PreCodeCamp.com, and in this video we're going to be talking about the attribute inside of the image tag called a source set and why you might want to utilize this attribute when making your web pages. So what we're trying to accomplish with a source set is, say you have an image that's 10 megabytes and you can also have a smaller sized image that's maybe 250 kilobytes. And you have the larger version for desktop browsers, and then you have the smaller one for mobile devices. And that would be a reason why you'd want to utilize the image source set for this scenario. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at what I have set up in the Visual Studio Code, and then I'll show you what website we can go to download the images so that way you can follow along. So inside Visual Studio Code here, I'm going to point out a few things. I have an assets folder that has all my images in it. So if I click on each one of these, I have a small, medium, and a large. They're all the same file, but if you'll notice down there at the very bottom of the screen, you're going to see that it is a little bit smaller in dimensions. And I also put text on each one of these images just so you know that, hey, this one's a small, this one's a medium, and this one's a large, because we're going to be testing this out. So again, notice down there at the very bottom of the screen, you'll see the size of these images. They are truly different. I also have an HTML file here. Again, you can name it anything. I just named it image-srcset.html. All right. Now, how do you get these images? Well, you're going to have to head over to Unsplash, and I just did a search for cats. Now, once you are on the cat that you like or the photo that you would like, all you have to do is on this little green button over here, they have the options for large, medium, and small. So go ahead and download those and place them in your assets folder. And just like I did, you can name them small, medium, and large for the practice. And again, you don't have to put text on yours. I'm going to show you in the browser how can we tell which one's actually being served and which one isn't. All right, so in Visual Studio Code, I'm just going to start off with the boilerplate. For that, I'm holding the Shift button down and hit the 1 key. That gives us our exclamation mark, and I'm going to hit the Tab button. I'm going to hit it 2 more times, and I'm going to change this to responsive images. Okay. So once we have the title down, now it's time to do the image. And so I'm going to type out IMG here, and I'm going to hit the Tab button. Now notice that once I hit the Tab button, I have that little cursor, and that's where I can type in the path to one of the images. Now, which image do we need to choose? Well, they tell us that it's best advice for us to choose the one that is the smallest file size, and that's going to be our default value, our default image that we want to show, just in case we don't get browser support for this source set attribute. Now, obviously all browsers, now you can go to the MDN docs and see what browsers are supported, and most of them are all supported as of right now for this feature. So the SRC, we can go in here. I'm going to do a /, and then I'm going to go inside my assets folder, and then I want to pick the small version. So let's go ahead and test this out just for now, and then I'm going to see what we have to do next. All right. So in the browser, let's go ahead and go to it. I'm going to refresh to get the cat, and notice that it is in fact the small one, right? Which is perfect. That's the one that we want. Now, how do we utilize the source set? Well, let's go back to Visual Studio Code and see what we have to do. So in Visual Studio Code, for this to happen, I'm going to hit the Enter key, just give us a little bit of space here, and I'm going to do SRC and then set. And notice that Visual Studio Code automatically completed or auto-completed some of this here for me. And what I want to do is I want to reference these, just how you see Copilot's trying to help me out. It's going to be comma-separated strings here, where we are going to put in the path to the image. So I'm going to do /assets /cat-small.jpg, and then the number that we want to put here, and in my example here, I'm going to do 400W. And that just means, hey, once the screen size reaches 400 in width, let's go ahead and use the small image. I'm going to put a comma in here, and then I'm going to do the next one. So the next one's going to be /assets cat medium JPG, and this one is going to be 800 for the width. And then we're going to follow this up with the last one of the cat large.jpg with a 1200 width for the size. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and save that. And now it's time to take a look at the browser and what has just happened and how do we test this out. So we're back in the browser here, and one thing that I will do, let's go back to Visual Studio Code here, and let's just go ahead and add a style attribute, and let's just make the width 100% just to help us with keeping the photo to the browser width here. So I'm going to go ahead and save that, and then let's go ahead and take a look at the images now. So we did in fact get a large image, which is good. Now the thing with Chrome, because I'm going to have us go into the dev tools for this in order to resize the browser for us. I'm going to have to shrink up the browser and then refresh, because Chrome does something very interesting, which is what we want our browser to do, which is if it's already downloaded the large file and it's cached, it's just going to continue to use it instead. So I'm going to hit the F12 button on my keyboard, and then I'm going to refresh here, refresh the page, and notice that I do get a small image. And we can take a look at the dev tools, again under the network, and notice that the cat-small JPG file has been served. And notice that the medium one was not served and the large was not served. In order to grow and shrink the browser, we just have to grab this. And as I'm making this a little bit bigger, notice that the medium file is now showing. Also, the cat-medium is the one that's being shown right now, and it's also been downloaded. And obviously the browser so far has downloaded the small version and the medium version. If I try to go back down to the small, it's not doing that because again, it's already cached the larger file, and so it's just going to use the higher quality one. So that's why it's not going back down. Now, how do we get the large one? Well, we have to go past the marker that we used, which was 1200, right? So let's keep on going here. There we go, all the way up to 800. And now we have the large. And if we take a look at the network on here, the cat large has been downloaded and it is being used. So again, that is how you can create a different file size to be served to your client. So if they are on a mobile device, that one only gets served, the smaller one gets served. You know, you have to keep in mind that most users are not going to be playing around with the responsiveness like a developer would. So again, if we were to refresh this page, I get a medium file here just because we're on that size, and it has not downloaded the small version and it has not downloaded the large file. All right, but just in case things get rotated, you know, tablets get rotated, phones get rotated, it may serve up a different one based upon your breakpoints that you created on. All right, so hopefully that helped you out with understanding a little bit more about the image source set. Again, if you were following along, don't forget that you can totally go to the unsplash.com, go grab your images, small, medium, and large, and place them in that assets folder, so that way you're able to play around with this and make it work for you. All right? So thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.